This podcast provides a platform for our guests to share their experiences and inspire our listeners to be brave and bold in pursuit of their dreams. As you listen, we invite you to explore how these concepts apply to your own story. You know what to do. Be great and be grateful. We're mic'd up with Mike DiCioccio. Hey guys, I'm bringing you the jack of all trades today, a rapper, producer, networker, connector of people. He's an actor, the CEO of Stay Grindin, Inc., the one and only, my friend, Robert Omega Red Grant. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Oh man, it's crazy. We're in quarantine right now when this thing's being recorded. I would much rather be hanging out with you. Maybe you could show me some of the things that you're producing and working on.
Yeah.
A friend of mine just sent me a text where she's sitting poolside right now in Florida.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I had to bring it up though. I was the one who asked her what she's doing, but so my point is, as we're recording this, there's a lot of turmoil going on, and we want to recognize that, and we'll talk about that a little bit at the end. But what I want people to do, if they're not familiar with Robert Grant, if you're in Western New York and you're not familiar with Robert Grant, I wonder what the heck you're doing. Because this guy, he's out. He knows everybody. Our mutual friend, Eric Loricella, shout out.
Shout out to my guy, Eric.
I call him Eric because he's got a K at the end of his name, E-R-I-C-K. And visually it looks like Eric. And I still, to this day, don't know if he actually appreciates that or not, but and I call him, and he answers to it.
Yeah, Eric's a good guy. Known Eric for about 6-7 years now. So
yeah, we were hanging out at a coffee shop, and it's like just the thought of that sounds so welcoming right now, just to be out.
I know, man. I know. I'm getting so, like, at first I was like, okay, this is whatever. I get a break. But now I'm like kind of getting a little cabin fever, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
My whole thing is like I like to reach people, touch people, talk to people face to face. That's a big thing for me. The social distancing and the Zoom stuff, like I do that a lot for like conference calls and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Working in corporate America, so I'm very familiar with that as well. But yeah. I always like them, to face to face. That's the best.
I kind of go both ranges. Like I could be the hermit crab that just is crunching on some work and doing some audio, and I got my headphones on, and I could work from a coffee shop and still kind of keep secluded. But I also love getting around people, meeting people. I do a ton of networking, and that's what I wanted to compliment you on, because I've seen you at a few networking events. I know you go to many and you host some. We'll talk about Team Network, the organization that you put together with another mutual friend. And so I want to talk about all the things that you're doing, but I just wanted to compliment you on this too. Candidly, when you're not at a networking event for whatever crazy reason, I'm talking to someone new, you come up in conversation almost 100% of the time. So,
well, I mean, I'm honored.
When I was thinking of people to have on my show, it's like, who can I bring together that people who know me would also appreciate, and then some of my viewers that don't know who Robert Grant is, because I don't intend on just putting a bubble over Western New York. I totally love and appreciate Western New York.
Right.
But this show is really for anybody, anywhere.
Right.
And so tell us a little bit about Omega Red and who's Robert Grant. How did that whole thing start off?
Well, first I gotta compliment you too, because I watched you grow too since the day I met you. So I seen you,
yeah. I didn't know when we first met, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Let's be honest.
Well, I'm not going to say you didn't know what you were doing.
You
were just trying to figure it out, So, I mean, you found your niche, and I think you're doing a great job at it. So
appreciate that, brother.
When you're on my radar, you're doing something.
We got Omega Red, and if you're looking on IG for, it's easy to find them. Omega Red Superfan, and it's SUPAFAN. And you just find that hashtag, do it for the gram, do it #4. The gram, and I heard that song the other day, and I still got it in my head.
What do you think about it?
I liked it. I liked it. Super relevant and catchy. And dude, you're the real deal. And you know what? You actually did a collaboration with Rhino, and I don't know if you realize that that's also a mutual friend.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's my guy, man. That's my guy.
Well, Biggie. You know Biggie.
Yep. Okay. So that's where the connection came in.
If anyone listening is wondering who we're talking about, not Biggie, we're talking Biggie is my brother-in-law, Chris Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
He's super close with Rhino. and the Doyle brothers. So how did you guys get connected?
Yeah, I met the Doyle brothers years and years ago. They did a show over by it was by the Maple Theater. There's an event space over there by the Maple Theater.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know the Roccos, but I know Derek Rocco, and he's really good friends with Ryan Doyle. So I went and seen the show, and I was like, man, these guys are talented, because I've been trying to work with like artists in Buffalo for a long time. I'm like, man, this guy's really talented. So at first I was going to work with them both, but Ryan was breaking off and doing his own thing at that point. And I was like, bro, I need you on one of my records. I think you sound great. And came in the studio, he laid it down, man. And it was like, everyone was like, oh my God, this record.
Yeah, they're clean. He's clean. Like, if you guys, we'll tag them too, and I'll put it up. Doyle Brothers, you guys should check them out. I know right now during the quarantine, they're doing a lot of live concerts because I know they're booked for the spring and summer.
Yeah, they're in New York City right now too. So
yeah, they're in the city, and super talented guys. They can do anything from Sublime to a hip hop song to covering Weezer. I mean, they're just really good. When they do a song, they put their own Doyle Brothers spin on it. But it's still like the original artist, I feel, would appreciate it too.
Yeah, them guys are super talented, man. I can't say how super talented they are. But as a musician, you should be able to. The name of the song is
"Wine and Spirits," right? If anyone wants.
"Wine and Spirits," yeah, that's the song right there. Yeah, so he really liked that song.
I did my homework, man.
I see, man. I see you doing your homework. I see that. I like that though.
Yeah, for sure. So, Stay Grindin Inc. If anyone wants to know more about that. I know it's not only a management entertainment company, it's a way of life. There's some
way of life.
That's your tag, a way of life. So tell us more about what you do exactly. Are you seeking out talent, or do the artists come knocking on your door?
Well, it's vice versa. Like sometimes artists will come knocking on my door, and sometimes I'll reach out for artists, so it's
Is your antenna always on? Like when you hear something, you're thinking, this guy, I want to work with them?
Yeah, just in general, like if I hear someone that's super talented and they're not getting the exposure that they need, I kind of help them and guide them in that way. I would say the management side comes in as far as managing their business, not them as an artist, but I show them how to become independent, how to generate revenue without having to be, everybody wants to get to that pyramid of the music business, right? Everybody wants to like get that major hit with the major artist or work with that major producer. So it's like a pyramid, so everybody wants to be at the top of that pyramid, right? So it's just like, you don't have to be at the top of that pyramid in order to make money or earn a living in the music business. So I had to show, I want to show other artists how they can just make a living. Like you can make an easy 100,000, saying 70K in the music business independent without being signed to a major or, getting that big break with working with a major artist. Like you could do a ton of stuff for TV and film publishing and stuff like that. So I do a lot of TV publishing and movie publishing and licensing.
I'm glad we went down this because I didn't have this as a question here, but as a musician myself, I play the drums. I haven't played as much recently. I'm sick of saying that. I got to do something here. I think during the quarantine, and maybe I'm going to start doing videos or something and just to get myself behind the drum kit again. But why I say that is I know a little bit about the music industry when I was involved with it from when I was like 18 up until I was about 27 years old. I was playing out and mostly in Buffalo. So I kind of understood like what was happening here, which was just such a small fraction of what's going on in the actual world of music production. But I know there's kind of two ways of looking at it. We always wanted as a band, we wanted that big deal. We wanted to get out there. We wanted people to know about us so they can enjoy our music and we can make a difference. That was the number one thing. But then at the same time, there's like this level where you don't want to seem like we sold out. We went with the number one major thing. We want to kind of be indie, but indie also means you're not making a ton of money. Like, what's that balance? Do you find that that's the same in all music genres? Or?
Well, just because you're independent doesn't mean you're not making a lot of money.
True.
But what happens is, as an independent artist, if you're selling, like, say if you sell like 10,000 copies, right, of your album, which
now it's all downloads. We don't even really talk.
Either that or streaming, but. If you sell like 10,000 units, right, and you're selling your album like $10 an album, an album, and if you're not signed independently, that's all your money.
True. Yeah.
So but the whole
you don't have the backing of,
exactly,
of the company to get it in front of more people. It's just
right.
like publishing a book. You want that book to get out to more people. You have a nice publishing company. They'll
Right.
help feed it out to the world, but you're going to get less of a cut. Or you can literally try to sell one book at a time or one album. Back when I was playing, we had CDs in our hands at our shows.
Yeah, that still goes on.
Yeah. I enjoy. Yeah. I always love listening to an album in its entirety.
Yeah, the whole body.
That's how I first experienced music. I'm not that old, but I'm young enough where I appreciated listening to, and it was CDs. You'd get it. You had the album artwork you could hold on to. You pressed play on the big boom box in your bedroom, and I just would listen to the whole album, 50 minutes, 60 minutes, the whole album. If it's Weezer Blue album, it was like 28 minutes long, right?
Yeah.
But I just
so the CDs are like collective items now. That comes with like what happens now is like if someone buys a merch or something like that, a CD will come with it or something like that.
Yeah, so, it's kind of it helps. I mean, but the thing is, like most new cars don't even have CD players in it anymore. It's kind of crazy.
I've been noticing that. Everything's like USB and all that. So like there's many. I mean, I remember like years ago when they were doing that, like they were actually giving promo USB ports with the music in it. That's something that probably I need to revisit. I'm glad we just talked about that.
And it's like, I understand, like your hit song is always going to be your hit song, whether it was on an album, it's what the radio was looking for. Now it's the download you want on Spotify. So that hasn't changed a ton, but getting people to listen to the rest of it is still a little bit tricky.
Right.
Especially because everyone is like using the download or streaming services to discover new artists, which is great. But it's like you want them to stay on your record. I still call it a record, but your album or record and listen to the whole thing,
So what I do with the artists is, some producers or artists, because I work with artists and producers. So what I do is I broker licensing deals, publishing deals. So, they build a library of business, straight to the, I would say, like the music supervisors and stuff like that for TV and film. So I have a direct relationship with those guys. So eventually what happens is that, they build a huge enough portfolio, whatever society they're with, either it's ASCAP or BMI or CSAC, they build enough portfolio where they can, earn a residual income or royalty statement and earn a living. It's not an overnight thing, but in like the first year will probably suck. But after that, if you've got so much book of business, I mean, you'll start to earn a pretty decent income. So I've created quite a few lifestyles for some producers and artists I'm starting to work with right now and showing them how they can make, royalties, not just off of their music, but the stuff that they do for TV and film, like musical beds, producers, just background music.
So you're producing that? Like if a show needs a music bed or something that would be supporting the show, are you in the studio writing and producing that, or are you like overseeing the project to make sure the right people are in place for it?
I would oversee it, and sometimes I record myself. Like sometimes I'll record like a bunch of theme music for like TV. Like if they need like a 90s hip hop album, whatever, and it's like we want you to, so we need a song similar to like a song that's really popular, but they don't want to pay for the licensing fee and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'll come in and I'll, do something like that. And it's great, man, because I get to play these different characters and like, it's really great. Like I did the theme song for the CW show called Black Lightning. The title was called Fight Back. And it was pretty cool to actually see how they put that together for like the promo commercial, It was like more of a rock kind of electronic, rock type of record. So
you did the vocals and then they put it into a song?
My producer produced the record, and then I laid the vocals down for it.
Awesome. I could tell, man, your whole body language changed once we started talking about creating music and being in the studio, and you were picturing yourself in the moment.
Yeah.
I just saw your whole body language change. I can tell. Is that your sandbox? Is that when you're like having the most fun?
I mean, I love music and business because like, especially in corporate America, like, they don't meet too many people like me that kind of like, I kind of reversed the whole way of doing things. Like I kind of fell behind the scenes in music and I said, I want to learn more about business. So I got into corporate America, and that's when I started my own consulting business. But then I worked for other companies as well. So the more I've learned about corporate America, and like they find it amazing how I can like knock down certain doors and tap into certain things. And it's just because of the music business, right? I always had to sell myself, you know, when it came to music, you know.
You're like
and
Clark Kent, man. I meet you at a Team Network event, and you're corporate Robert Grant, and then if I meet you, you know, Friday night and you're hanging with the boys, it's Omega Red, right?
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of people call me Red. So it's interesting. A lot of them get more interested into like, well, tell me more about the music, or I have a son or a daughter, or I got a friend who's trying to get into the music business, you know, and then like, and I'm just like, okay, we know. And some people, you know, are ready, and some aren't. You know, some people don't know the level of connections I have in a business. So once they get involved, they're like, oh man, this guy's serious, you know. So it's interesting, you know.
Yeah,
but I'm here to help whoever needs help or need connections. I'm here to help, and that's.
I think it's important. I mean, that is you. You're not one or the other. You're both, and you're really both at all times. I'm kind of kidding a little bit when I say, you know, you're like Clark Kent, but and that's actually why I came up with the name for my company. And I didn't mean this to be a plug for Social Chameleon, but that whole meaning behind my name is that, like, when I'm hanging with a certain group of people, I'm going to communicate with them the way that's going to best serve the situation.
I dig that, man. That's a fly slogan too, you know?
Thanks, brother. Yeah. And then later on, like, I just had a consulting client who's learning how to create a website for the first time. And I needed to be like one step at a time with them, you know, where if I talk to her, like you and I talk about making, you know, music or something where we get it, you're going to lose somebody. So it's important to really be all these different things, but really have an understanding of your audience. It even goes down to branding, right?
Yeah.
I know you're really strong at branding. Important. You said your buddies call you Red, and I actually know one of your mentees who calls you OG Red.
Oh yeah,
MA. yeah, MA, also known as Sir Amazing.
Yeah.
Right. And he's actually going to he beat you to the punch. I recorded his episode already. Okay. So once this one is live, so if you're listening to this right now, you can actually go listen to Sir Amazing's episode. It'll already
be out. You got him up?
It's coming out Monday.
All right, cool.
It's coming out Monday. But again, if someone's hearing you and I talk right now and this episode's released, then his episode's already going to be out. Here's what I love about him. He has a consistent positive energy and attitude. He definitely is a special dude. I know you saw that in him.
Yeah.
He totally complimented you. I saw an interview you guys did together, and he was just like sending you a lot of love. And you said, dude, I love this. You said, man, you know, you would have got there with or without me. Maybe I helped you get there a little bit sooner, or you're on the right path. You go, but that's you being you. You're going to do it. I'm just here to help you out. And I think like he was taken aback, like, oh, I'm trying to give this guy credit, you know. But I love that. So just let's talk about him for a moment. What do you see in him, and what do you think can really come from?
MA, I see his determination and his I would say his passion, right, about his community, about being successful. You know, he runs into pitfalls. Like, he'll call me when he has an obstacle, and I said, okay, cool, let's get over this obstacle. So, and he listens too. That's very important, because a lot of people don't listen, you know, and that, to me, that's really important. Like, I don't want to waste my knowledge on someone who's not going to listen, you know, because it's like, I don't want to waste my time on people who don't want to listen, you know, or act like they don't listen and go off and try to do it, you know, and leave you out the equation, and they don't understand, like, there's more levels to it. So it's just like, you know, it's like, okay, I got someone to do that. Okay, that's fine, but they're not going to do it correctly. But, you know, if you want to go off and do it, go ahead. You know, just I'll wait till you run into that ceiling, you know?
Yeah. Either listen and they don't apply it, so they're knowledgeable, but there's no action. Or they listen and they go apply something completely off, and you're like, man, either you didn't understand it, or you just you can hit your head against the wall 8 times, 9 times. The 10th time, you might decide to do what I told you. Yeah. And most of the reason I know you as a mentor, and I feel like I don't know you extremely well, but I can tell your style is you're happy. Like, if you did something and lived an experience, and maybe it was something difficult you had to learn over time, you're willing to tell someone, like one of the guys you're working with, how to get there. Right. You're willing to share that information, so they don't have to go through the years of pain, and, you know,
exactly.
They still got to do it. They still got to get up and go forward.
Right.
You're saying, dude, we could start right here and you can go forward. You don't have to go through the crap I did, so let's do this together. And then you do that and they go down their own path and you're like, oh man.
Yeah. Sometimes I run into people who just would, I'm not saying make an excuse, but they'll say, well, this is why I can't do this. We can't do this. We can't. I'm just like, see, the word can't. Like, I don't like hearing that stuff, like in your words, like that tells me where your head is at. If you think, if you're saying, well, I can't do this, like there's always a way. Yeah. It's not going to be overnight, but you just got to be persistent,
Yeah.
So
I
don't like
my 5-year-old daughter is probably sick of hearing me say that word. It doesn't exist. Like I even tell her when she's 5, she'll say, I can't do it, Daddy. And it's like, she just has to move over a little bit more and climb and reach or whatever. Could be as small as like reaching for the remote. And she'll say, I can't get it. And I'll be like, all right, how do we think we can go get that? Do you think maybe by standing here, scooting this way, moving that pillow and going up, you can get it? And then she'll do it. And I was like, what did you just do? Got the remote. Right. Exactly. And it's like, all you had to do is think about it for 1 extra second and then take action on it.
Mm-hmm.
So here's something that some of our listeners might know, again, because we have mutual connections, but maybe they don't. Your aunt, Donna Summer, right?
Yep.
And, so everybody is going to recognize that name. But what I want you to do is shine some light on her, maybe the side that we don't know, and how she really influenced you. If you can share like early on developmental in your life. I know this could be a whole nother hour.
Yeah, man.
She's a 5-time Grammy Award winner. So I'm sure there's a lot of interest in people understanding what she means to you.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, we weren't as close, but as I got older and got into, because I have a huge family. So, but as I got into the music industry and I started to make a lot of noise, like, I would see her all the time though, through family gatherings and stuff like that. But, I got a lot of cousins. So, so.
Was she pretty down to earth though, like a family?
Oh, yeah.
She just wanted to talk about the family. She wasn't like, oh, guess what I just did, right?
Nah, she every Christmas or holiday, she sent us money. Like she was just way too giving, I personally think. But, yeah, she was funny, man. Like she had jokes. Like I have videos with us in the studio that like I hold precious to me. Like no one's ever seen them, but oh my gosh, she's such a clown, man. She would just joke and like she would make fun of me all the time. It's like, oh, you think you this big old rapper or whatever. And like she was calling me Pumpkinhead because my hair was like really bright red when I was younger. But
that's funny.
She's just like, oh, you just like my little Pumpkinhead, this and that. So I mean, we had a lot of great times, She's a very caring, very giving person, very down to earth, you know. So I mean, like I had the best times in the studio with her creating.
Yeah, and now there's actually a celebration of summer in honor of your aunt, and that's in Boston, right?
Yeah. So when I recorded, I recorded her last single. So I have a song on my last album that was featured her on it, and Angel,
right?
Yeah, it's called Angel, and it was kind of like bittersweet because I knew she was sick, but I didn't know the severity of it.
Yeah.
I didn't know she had lung cancer, but I didn't know how severe like her sickness was because she kept it very quiet. Like I didn't even know how sick she was. So when I recorded the record with her, I would say about like 6-7 months later, she passed away. So when we were in the studio creating, she was like, well, I want to switch the lyrics up a little bit because I wrote the hook for it. And she was like, I want to switch it up. I want to be like, I'm your angel watching over you. So hindsight, like she knew, she was going to be passing. But so that was like a message.
You didn't.
Yeah. So I was just like, oh my God, like this is crazy.
Yeah.
So when she passed away and all that happened, press was like, the press was trying to get after me, like everybody, like CBS, ABC, they were calling up friends and I'm just like, I haven't even talked to you in like 20 years. And like, you're calling me because the news station wants to talk to me. Like, it was just very like unreal how people wanted to capitalize off of my aunt's death. And then people were like, release the song. You should do it now. I'm just like, this is my aunt. Like, I'm not trying to like capitalize off her death. So that kind of that kind of steered me away from a little bit, like, to be in the forefront. And
you think you went in the opposite direction?
Yeah, I kind of took a break. I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna be pushing stuff because I just got real disgusted with the industry for a little bit. So I said, let me just do the behind the scenes stuff, and that's where I learned a lot about TV publishing and film. I'm like, well, I can make money doing this. So I don't have to be a forefront artist right now. I can make make money doing this.
I'll tell you what, man, if you wanted to do that, you have the talent. Again, I heard you, and I know like you could do that full time, no problem. And I know you know that. I know you're confident.
Well, I'm starting to work on that right now. But anyway, so what happened was I got a lot of press because I raised about 10 grand to build a mural where she went to high school at, showing the kids from the inner city, saying like, my aunt came from this high school, same high school as yours. If she can make it, she can do it. You guys can do it too. So I got a lot of press on that one. That once I raised the money, got that done. So the mayor, City Hall, they approached me and they said, look, we want to host an event celebrating your aunt's legacy. So celebration of summer. So
is that tied in? You have another program you're involved with, Youth Dream Builders Project. Is that
right? So I started that with a friend of mine named Justin Springer, and that's how this whole thing came about. So we did that, and then got a ton of press, and then from that we started doing the celebration of summer. So we're going on our 7th year. So yeah, so it's been going strong, and people come from all over the country, like all over the world, actually, to come to City Hall to celebrate her legacy. So I'm really honored and appreciative of that opportunity to, help continue.
You would be happy though, knowing that some of her legacy, even if it's press where you're like, guys, you're just popping out of the woodwork to get an inside scoop on my aunt. But I think she would be proud to just be reflecting on it, knowing that it helped you in some way, right? Because you're saying she was very giving. Like if you had an opportunity to have a phone call with someone who maybe can help your career, I'm sure she would have been happy.
Well, yeah, I mean, they've done, a lot of people didn't know she was my aunt in the beginning of my music career because I didn't like really.
Yeah, because you weren't trying to be like, this is who I am. I'm the guy. I'm the nephew. I'm not. You're not promoting yourself as the nephew of Donna Summer. You were yourself.
Yeah, I kind of lean away from that a lot, because it gets kind of crazy because our fans are like insane. So it's like, I kind of like lean away from, like her fans are just, they're very loyal, so it's like, when it's time to promote her stuff, I promote her stuff. But other than that, like, I don't, I kind of keep things low key until it's time to like, promote her in the event and stuff like that. Yeah. Like the Boston Globe, like right here, I just did, they did an article in the Boston Globe. I got the front page of the weekend section, and they wanted to talk to her. Obviously, someone got a whiff of who my aunt was. They wanted to do an interview with me because they found it so like amazing that this is my aunt, and no one had a clue. And I was like making a name for myself in New England.
Now they made the connection, yeah. Well, hey, she's the queen of disco, so
she's the queen, man. She's the queen. There's no denying that,
She's got respect. And there's a line in the song "Angel" we were just talking about. It says, "After the rainstorm, always comes a rainbow."
And that can relate to anything right now. Even this right now, we're going through this pandemic. I
was just gonna say we got a pandemic going on, so let's talk about that. How have you been able to kind of tread water through this so far? Both in your consulting business and also as an artist?
Well, like my stuff is residual based, passive income. So, I may take a hit on a few businesses. I do a lot of B2B. So that's still going strong. I got a lot of liquor stores as clients. So, restaurants are shut down, so, I'm going to take a little hit, but, that just comes with the territory. And, I get royalties. So, I'm doing okay.
You're talking with your merchant business? You have royalties or?
No, not royalties with music. So that's how I got into like the credit card industry because I understand like residual and passive income, right? So I get royalties every quarter with music, and then with credit card processing, you get commissions every week and you get a residual every month. So I'm like, okay, that's 3 revenue streams right there. So I wanted to create a platform, generate revenue where I can get multiple revenue streams.
Take a moment to share with us if someone is a business owner, and this show is designed not only for entrepreneurs and business owner, but I know primarily that's going to be our core audience because the mission for my show is to help inspire people to be brave and bold in pursuit of their dreams. And whatever that is, it's, I want to be an artist. I want to go out and start a company, whatever it might be. And so talk about the importance of what you do with credit card processing. I know there's a lot of people that are popping up out of the woodworks. There's apps, there's this and that. What at the end of the day can you what are your core benefits when someone is talking to you? How can you provide them not only the service, but what benefits come with it?
Well, credit card processing is very, I guess say, some people find it confusing, or to me, it's really black and white, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is what the client needs. What's the best, like what do they need in their bottom line? Okay. And
is there a lot that you can customize, like in different packages and stuff?
Yeah. So every client is different. So I sit down with each client and I figure out their pain points, and then I look at everything and see what it is I can do to help enhance what they're doing or add to it, but also increase their bottom line. Okay. So that's my main thing, is finding the right solution for them. Cause I don't want to sell anything that's not useful. Right.
Right.
A lot of people sell things.
Why they have you. I mean, you're not buying it off of a menu. You're buying it from a person that gets to know you and has a personality. And, and I know that you're someone that if you text or call, you're going to get a response, and then email, you can respond quickly. So you're
so I'm very hands-on like that. So my whole thing is just finding the right solution for them, whether it be POS or credit card terminals or online processing, virtual terminals. I do everything you could probably imagine that comes to payment processing. So.
Awesome. And I talked about Team Network, which stands for Together Everyone Achieves More. And you put that together with another friend, also in the insurance world, and someone that's a mutual connection with Eric that we talked about in the beginning, Michael Forrester. Mike, guy is also, he's just a great dude.
Yeah, Mike's a great guy.
He knows everybody. You guys talk about how you started it and like what the underlying purpose of Team Network is.
Well, I'm a part of a lot of different organizations, but I would say like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I was part of a lot of organizations that I felt like it was good for me at that point in time, but I reached a ceiling. I feel like I reached a ceiling where it's like, okay, I want to be part of everything. I don't want to just like have a group that just stays in their own bubble, right? Like, so the Western the Western New York area, I would say, is becoming more diverse, but I would go networking to all these different places and I wouldn't see people like myself. Right. So I'm like, where's everybody at? Like, where are people like me at? And it's just like, it seemed like it was just very segregated. My world here in Western New York is not segregated, but I feel like I see a lot of that. So I wanted to be that bridge, right? I wanted to create a platform where people can come from different cultures, different business backgrounds, and all these different situations, and they can meet at my networking event, which I created. So, but I'm still part of a lot of different other organizations as well. It's just that, they're part of what they do and they stick to, what do they do? But I'm trying to bridge that. I'm trying to bridge that gap. I want everyone to work together.
I like it because I believe I was at one of the events you did with Mike. I believe it was a Team Network event. And, you get the opportunity to go around and learn about everybody that's there. They do 30 or 60 seconds on their business. But then there's usually a lunch or something where it's, hey, let's hang out, get to know each other a little bit more. There's not that business meeting element to it. So it's like business, yet some leisure going on. And there's enough time where people can make true connections, and you're not expecting a referral or something where if it happens, it's going to happen naturally. But it's not the only reason that you're there. No,
I want that to happen naturally as far as like referrals and stuff like that. But we are definitely there to build business and make connections. But it's up to that person to want to do that. So a lot of people are like, well, who's in your group? I don't want to be, if there's another insurance guy there, I don't want to go. I'm like, why not? Like, what I'm saying? Like, he's not going to be able to get all the business. It's all about who you're making connections with. If you feel like if you're not that confident enough that you can come into a place and build connections because there's another insurance guy there, then you need to work on that. Like, I feel like people buy or people buy into me, right? So it's like, but not everyone's gonna like me, right? Not everyone's gonna like me. So even a credit card processing guy came to one of my events. I didn't see a problem with it. Yeah. Because I feel like there's like 40 people in the room. Like, I'm not going to be able to get everyone's business. If
all 40 actually said, I want to call Robert today, I mean, you couldn't even physically do that because you'd be working with each person in the moment. So, it's just it is silly when there's like those lockout groups or whatever. I get it.
I mean, it serves its purpose, like, but that's not what I want. Like, I'm in groups like that, but my group, I didn't want that because I want everyone to be able to step their game up, first of all, be around top-notch networkers and have confidence in themselves enough where they can step into a room and not worry about who's in that room. They just, go make their connections, and that's what I'm here to facilitate.
Absolutely. So how are you able to adapt that now when we're in this new virtual, everyone's connecting on calls like this? Are you able to you're doing team network kind of?
Nah, I'm not. I want the team network to be strictly like in face to face. So, I see the craze. I see the whole, the virtual craze going on. And it's like, I've been doing that forever. Cause like, I work remotely. So I've been on Zoom and all these calls, years and years. I've been doing this with, a team of people, like sales teams and stuff like that. So it's cool that everyone's, getting part of it now, but it's like, my whole thing was about that one-to-one personal connection and networking. And right now I'm just taking a break with the team network until we get back to,
you're able to focus on some other things. So going back to music again, I know I don't want to be jumping all over.
That's okay.
I want to kind of get back to the core here. If someone's listening to this and they do want to get into the music industry, right? It's 2020. Everything is social media and branding and getting your voice and it's amazing. I mean, you can connect with so many people with a little budget today. But what advice would you give someone if they have it in their heart that they want to go out? It could be an artist, whether it's hip hop, it could be country, whatever it might be. What, in your experience and also operating in today's world, what would you tell them? Like, if you give them a couple things to think about so they can maybe go down a straighter path.
Well, first thing, they have to have insane faith and confidence in themselves. Second of all, they have to invest in themselves. Like, so,
they're a business almost.
Yeah, you got to be. I'm showing artists how to be just like an independent label or brand. Like, they have to be willing to invest in themselves because no one's going to invest in them if they're not invested in themselves. And that's what got me a long way because people seen that I was willing to invest in myself. So, and I wasn't going to stop. And that's to the point. It got me to the point where I met a lot of people and they seen me, in Massachusetts, they seen me grind it out. They seen me stay grinding. And then it was like, look, we see what you're doing and, we want to invest. So that's how I got my first break, when I got, when I started the label. So I had an investor, they invested about $1 million into the label. So, started flying out to LA and New York City and, that's when I got my first break. Actually, LA was, the artists in LA were the ones that actually put me in the music industry. But I got connected through one of my good friends and DJs, Master Millions. He's like a big DJ in Boston, but he was really good friends with this DJ's named DJ Sinatra. He DJs for Ty Dolla Signs. Some people may know who he is. Some people may not, but Ty Dolla Signs. But at the time, he was Ray J's DJ. So that's how I got connected with Ray J. And I did my first.
When was this? If we're putting it on a timeline,
huh?
When was this, like, on a timeline?
Oh, you're gonna give me.
You don't have to date yourself, but
Well, no, it was about. I'll say it was about 10. I'll say about 12, 11, 13 maybe years ago.
Okay, somewhere between then. More than 5 years ago.
Yeah. So Ray J was the one that actually gave me my break. Like, he was the first one.
Yeah.
And,
that's
after
awesome.
that, man, I was off to the races.
What was your something I just thought of in the moment? What's your favorite moment so far? If you reflect on your music career and there's just that thing that you're just like, man, that happened, that really happened. What would you say?
Oh man, I had so many of those epiphanies.
Well, like, what just popped in your head? You know what? You know, something came in your head when you just thought about it.
All right, so I was in a hotel recording with KRS-One. I don't know if a lot of people know who he is, but he's like he's like the rap legend of hip hop. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
how did
he's the professor? Connect? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I did a record with him. That was like one of my biggest like accomplishments. I feel like, because like he's one of the forefathers of hip hop. You know, so he came in the hotel and we recorded the record right there, and we got to talk, and you know, he was just dropping a lot of knowledge.
So is he on your record, or you kind of featured on his?
No. It was my record. It was my single, and he featured it. He was featured on it. It's called Hip Hop, actually.
Okay, very cool.
So,
all right, here's what we do at the end of the show. I love to leave my audience with something, right? Some kind of meat that they can take with them. It could be a thought. It could be some relevant 1, 2, 3 bullet points. But if you're leaving my audience, or now our audience today, inspired to be brave and bold in pursuit of their dreams, what would you tell them?
Never let anybody tell you you can't do anything. All right. So I'm a living testament of the naysayers, people who say I'm into too much, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but don't listen to anybody. Just have insane faith and confidence in yourself, and don't let anybody tell you you can't do anything.
Dude, I love that. Yeah. It's as simple as that, right? I mean, that's a big statement, but it's also not all over the place. It's look in the mirror, find what you really love in that person, and go and do it, right? Yeah, go shine light on it. Now, this is kind of a silly question, but I want to be candid, because at the top of the show, we mentioned you're a rapper, producer, networker, connector of people. We didn't talk about acting, but there's also something I want you to mention. When are we going to see Young Coltrane back? You coming back?
Let me see. I got my saxophone. I got my saxophone here somewhere.
Do you still play sax? Because that was
I still play. I got the tenor sax right here. I'm not as sharp as I used to be, but I definitely I want to put it in somewhere in my album. Like I need to play it. But everyone's been telling me that since way back. Like, oh man, you should play the sax. You know, and I was like, that's cool.
I'll tell you what, I'll start drumming again. You could play sax and put an album out.
Yeah, I need to brush up though.
Rhino on it. Omega Red, Rhino, me on the drums, and you can play some sax.
Yeah, I definitely need to brush up on my skills, but yeah, I still play it though.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I just felt like if I'm interviewing Robert, we gotta talk about all of Robert, not just
one. For sure, man, definitely.
What about acting? Is that something you see in the future for you?
Maybe. I like to dibble dabble in it a little bit. It's really a tough industry. But, you know, I had a couple of breaks. You know, I was in a couple of films. So, but yeah, it's a tough business. You know, I don't know if it's something I would want to like take on full head on. But when you're acting, to do little cameos here and there.
Yeah. Do you? Because, like I said, your body language changed when we talked about being in the studio and creating music. Do you get that same way with acting, or do you feel like that's kind of something that's fun, but it's not really like a definitive characteristic as much as
it's fun, but it's a tough business, man. Like, you know, like I was in Shutter Island and I was like a principal extra, and I got to hang around Leonardo DiCaprio, and I just got to see like how everything works. Like, and it can be tough, man. But I would like to get into it a little bit more, but I want to do like character voices. I want to do like voiceovers and stuff like that, characters. So it's like I want to be in it, but I feel like I want to do like voiceovers and stuff like that. But I like to do little cameos and little scenes here and there. So I mean, I haven't found anything lately that I wanted to do, but if I really wanted to like go full fledged, I could, you know.
Yeah. But, so it's something you enjoy doing. You seek it out when you're looking for it. You might go down that road, but really primarily it's your consulting business, Western New York merchants, getting behind the mic. Do you do a lot of writing when you do ideas pop in your head and you're writing all the time?
Well, I don't write anything on paper anymore. I've moved from doing that, but I do a lot of pre-production, and I write in my head. So I've learned that being around like super producers. Like Ray J introduced me to this producer named Detail. He produced. He was signed to Convict Music at the time, Akon's label.
Okay.
He produced one of my singles. He actually produced 4 of my singles. But I freestyle a lot, and I kind of took
What do you
that.
mean? Tell us what you mean when you say I write it in my head now. Like, how do
you?
you?
So like, I pretty much it's like memory, right? So it's like when I hear a song, like, or a beat, like I'll start to write the song in my head.
You just take a minute away from it and think about more like the whole verse, and then you come back.
Sometimes I'll be like 8 bars straight of just verses, and then like I'll pause it and then go back to it. Like it's very like.
You ever record it on your phone? Like, hey, I'll just record a part.
No, I have pre-production. Like I have a microphone, or I'll just go in the studio at the time and just like lay out 16 bars, like pretty much freestyling it. But I had to work at that. But being around those producers and being around them, it's like it's really high level. Like being in Miami, recording at the Hit Factory, where like Chris Brown records, Lil Wayne, like they would be like, okay, you're up. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I had to deliver, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's just like, it got to that point where it's like, I'm being around all these like super producers and recording artists. Like I had to, step my game up. So it's just like, either I, don't step my game up or do. So it's like, I'm like, I got here for a reason. So
right there for our audience is you get around people that are operating at that level that either you're there or you're looking to go there, and you hang out with more people that are in it. So then this is what the new level of expectations is. It's not okay to be over here and just maybe kind of do things at that level. It's you want to be big time. This is how it works. Either you're ready for it or you're not. The only way to really get ready for it is to get involved or study it and then do it.
Well, a lot of people say luck, right? So it's like, oh, luck. Now it's like some people believe in luck, but I just feel like luck is a preparation of opportunity. So
that's a great quote. I love it. But luck too, like not only being prepared and opportunity, it still takes time. Like I heard someone say it was a great quote. They're like, yeah, I got lucky. It took me 10 years to get here or something. Like, because we only heard about them when their Instagram channel blew up. But 10 years prior to it, they were grinding every single day.
Exactly.
Now they got big on Instagram. So you think like, oh, this guy just came out of nowhere. You don't see the 10 years before it. Kind of like, like an iceberg or whatever. Like it's built.
The iceberg there,
yeah, it's there. You only see the tip, but the whole thing is built underneath.
Exactly.
Let's wrap up with this. What are a few things? I always like to say 3 things you're grateful for. I think I reflect on that in the morning when I get up. 3 things I'm grateful for. What would your top 3 things be?
Well, I'm grateful for being alive. I'm grateful for being healthy, and I'm grateful for my friends and family.
Yeah, I love that. Grateful for being alive. I'll tell you, we just said opportunity, right? When you reflect on that, it's look, I get to do what I want to do right now, and right now it's the coronavirus that's flying around, and a lot of people. We have a neighbor that is not doing well, unfortunately.
I'm sorry to hear about that.
Ventilator, and I'm sure we know. If I said her name, you probably would know who I'm talking about. But a mutual friend that her husband passed away last week.
Oh man,
it's crazy. It's crazy. And so the best thing we can do is be grateful for the opportunity to have breath every day.
Yeah.
Right? And then what we do with it. And then the third thing you said is friends and family.
Yeah.
Which is our core network. What was the second one you said?
Healthy.
Health. Yeah. I mean, that's the truth right there too.
Health is really important. So for me, I lost like 50 pounds. So I feel like being healthy makes you feel better all in general, like all around, so I like to have a healthy body, sharp mind, and, be aware of who your friends are, and make sure you keep in touch with your family. That's very important because, for me personally, without friends and family, their support, I wouldn't be anywhere. So.
Awesome, man. So healthy body, healthy mind, and then you can actually operate and deliver on the things you got. You got cool ideas, but you're not healthy, or overall you're just not sharp. It's hard for you to get to where you want to go, man.
Exactly.
So I appreciate it. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in here this week. We got Robert Omega Red Grant, and again, his Instagram handle is Omega Red Supafan, SUPAFAN. Anything else you want to share, websites or promos?
Yeah, so like Instagram for the Omega Red, you got that. And then I also have Instagram for the consulting business. Okay. So that's WNY Merchant Consulting. So that should pop up. WNY Merchant Consulting. That's also my Instagram handle as well. You can't miss me. I got a big smile with a suit and tie.
and then when you're Clark Kent, you're on LinkedIn, right?
Yep. There you go.
Thank you so much for your time today. The friendship continues to grow, and I'm excited. I'm going to start drumming, so you got to dust off that saxophone.
No, it's dusted off already. I just haven't touched it in about a week. But thank you for having me. I appreciate you, Mike. It was great being on this podcast show.
Awesome, brother. Thank you.
All right, you have a great day.
Hey guys, I appreciate you hanging out all the way until the end. I wanted to also acknowledge all the madness going on right now surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic, coronavirus. My thoughts and prayers go out to everyone to find peace and not let fear overtake your comfort, both mentally and spiritually. Be smart. Tune into the recommended procedures in your county. Do not be ignorant. The best way to get through this is to stop it from continuing to rapidly spread, and we can do that if we limit the opportunity. Stay home. It's really that simple. Do what you can from home. Enjoy the extended time with your family if possible. Have a game night. Do your calls from Zoom or an online platform. Read a book. Learn a new skill that helps you better serve your fellow man. We're in this together. Let's keep rolling. I love you guys and thank you so much for tuning in. I wanted to get that out there. Let's stay together during this hard time and use it as a time to love our families and our neighbors. Be strong and persevere. Appreciate your reviews and messages coming in on social media. Keep them coming. You guys can check out more show notes and information on each episode at mikeduppodcast.com, MIKED uppodcast.com. We're powered by Social Chameleon. You guys know what to do. Be great and be grateful.